Hey, hey. Welcome everybody to Miss Glow's Kitchen, where there's sugar, spice, and everything nice, where we slice, dice, and entice, using everything we can, from peppers to allspice. What's up, my people? Y'all know what time it is? See y'all in the kitchen. Apple hand pies are on the menu today. Alright fam, we'll need pie crust. Check out that link above if you want to make your own, or you can use store-bought. For the filling, we will need apples, lemon juice, granulated white sugar, flour, brown sugar, cinnamon, nutmeg, butter. And if you're going to bake it, you're going to need an egg for egg wash, and you'll need some salt. Alright? First thing we'll do is peel and core our apples if you have an apple corer. If not, I'm going to show you how to cut that apple from around there. If you haven't hit that like or subscribe button, do so now. Hit that bell for notifications and leave a comment. So if you don't have an apple corer, what you're going to do is you're going to cut those apples from around that core, and then you're going to chop them just like I'm doing here. Now, if you like more apple in your apple pie, then you're going to make your pieces bigger. But if you like yours kind of like more juicy, then you're going to cut your apples smaller, because that way they're going to cook down a little bit for you. All right, we're going to talk about that, whether to cook the apples or not, a little bit later. Let's just get these done right now. All right, so very quickly, I did it already. You're going to toss your apples in that lemon juice, and that's going to keep them from oxidizing. So in other words, it's going to keep them from turning brown. Now, once you've done that, you're going to put your dry ingredients in a bowl, and this is going to get poured over the apples as well. So that half cup of granulated white sugar, quarter cup of flour, quarter cup of brown sugar, packed brown sugar, half teaspoon cinnamon, quarter teaspoon nutmeg, all mixed up together in a bowl. Once you've mixed that up in a bowl, then you're going to toss it with your apples. So this is what gives us that apple pie flavor, but that flour is going to thicken up the juice from the apples. So it's going to give us more of, you know, when you get apple pies, you normally have this very thick filling in there. Well, that's what's going to create the filling for us, or rather so it won't be so thick and runny. All right, so now toss your apples in that. Once you've tossed your apples in that, then we'll move on to the next step. Now we're up to the part where we'll roll out the pie crust. If you bought the store-bought ones, then they're already rolled out for you. You're just going to have to cut them. So you're going to skip to the end of this where we will be cutting. But my suggestion to you right here is use your countertop. So clean your countertop very well and sprinkle some flour on it, okay? And not as much as I did right there. You only really need a little bit, and then you need to put a little bit on your rolling pin. All right, so if you want to use a chopping board or another wide surface you have, then do that. But my suggestion to you is to use the countertop. It's just going to make everything much, much easier. All right, so rolling out the pie dough, we're going to flip it over. Now, you don't want to put too much flour. You don't want to dry your dough out. But with this dough, this one's got shortening and butter in it, so it makes it very buttery and good. But yet, with that shortening, it makes it very flaky. So this turns out to be a really, really good handheld pie. All right, so you're going to roll this out until you get it as thin as you want it. So you're going to do it. It's going to rise a little bit. There is baking powder in it, so it's going to puff up a little bit. So you want to roll this out as thin as you possibly can without it tearing. So you don't want to be able to rip a hole in it very easily. All right. So we're going to jump away from the dough. Just for a couple minutes, I want to explain something to you. If you are going to fry your pies, then you must cook this filling, because they will fry so quickly that you will have rather raw apples in there. Now, if you're going to bake this in the oven, then you can skip this step, because the apples will then cook in the oven as the dough is puffing up and browning. So easy. But once you've rolled your dough out, this is where you'll decide the size of your pies. So you can do them as big or as small as you like. Now, I have decided to do a top and a bottom, and then I'm going to press them together. If you want to make your pies where you fold them over and then you pleat them with the fork, you can do that too. So it'll probably save you some time. You won't have to go around the whole pie. So if you're looking for that half moon shape, yeah, that's what I call it, yeah. If you're looking for that shape, then you're going to cut these big enough so that you can put the filling in and fold them over. All right, so now you have to be really careful with the top and the bottom like I'm doing, because these will open up on you. But here's a trick I found when you do this. If you cut these out, then you put the filling in there, and then you pleat them all around the edges. If you freeze them for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then you put them in the oil, they won't open. So that's just a little trick. If you don't want to do that step, then you can make sure you just press them really hard, or either twist them and pleat them instead of just taking the fork. Because I find that when you take that fork and as you're waiting, you're frying some of these pies, then the other ones that are waiting, sometimes that the apple, the liquid in there, that filling, it'll start leaking out, so it'll separate your top from the bottom. So just make sure that you twist and pleat all the way around, so you don't just press down like I just did. So I'm just telling you, just so your filling does not come out in your oil. Or but if you baking, you don't even have to worry about that, because you're going to pleat it, and then you're going to put an egg wash on the top, and you're going to sprinkle a little seasoning, a little cinnamon or whatever on the top of it. You're going to make it cute, and you can always put powdered sugar when you're done. So you can do a number of things with these. You can do a glaze, but we'll deal with that when we get to it. So up to the part where we're doing the filling now. So again, as I said before, if you're going to bake them, then you don't need to cook your filling. But if you're going to fry them, these suckers fry up so quickly that you've got to cook your filling some before you do it. Don't cook it into mush, but you want to cook it at least until your apples soften a little bit, and that flavor, the nutmeg, the cinnamon, that flavor gets into your apples. All right, so now we're going to fill them. All right, and we're going to close them. And as soon as we do that, so I want to demonstrate, I'm going to do one for you. And as soon as I do one for you, we're going to move on to the frying part. All right, so here we go. And another tip with these, I find if you want to do this top and bottom and pleat it like that, that top one, you need to stretch that top out just ever so slightly before you put it on the top of here, because you've got to remember that you're going to lose some of the sizing with it, because you have to lay it over the apple filling. So just a tip, so you know, so you can keep your top and bottom even, and then it makes it easier to close it around there. So you can do peach filling, blueberry filling. Remember, you can change this filling and cook it some. So these handheld pies, sky's the limit with them. You can do whatever flavor you like. You can do a lemon curd filling if you're a lemon lover. So some different things you can do. So okay, now take this fork, and we're going to press this down really good. So check that out. Look how I'm pressing it down, pressing it. So you want to make sure that these are completely closed. Got it? All right, so I'm going to move on to the frying part now. If you want to test your oil, if you want a temperature for it, maybe about 350, 375 at the most, but I would not recommend that you go to 400, but these fry so very quickly. So you can use a vegetable oil. You don't need a heavy oil like corn oil, peanut oil. You can use something very light, so vegetable oil will do this for you. All right, so I'm going to let these fry. I'm going to let them fry until they are golden brown on the outside. Don't let them burn. All right, and if you happen to get one in there that opens up, take it out. All right, so these are brown enough for me. They'll start floating, so I'll tell you that too, and then you'll know. So check that out. They look good, right? Well, let me show you. You know what? I was about to show you what they look like, but hold on a second. Let me show you how to make a really quick glaze if you want to put a glaze on the top. All right, so those are the pies I got waiting to go in. But meanwhile here, quick glaze, I've just poured some powdered sugar in here. No particular amount. I just poured some in. All right, so I'm going to put a caramel flavoring. So we got a handheld apple pie and a caramel glaze to go over it. So I'm going to use milk. You can use water right here. Water will work just fine. After all, it is sugar. It's not going to lose the sweetness, okay? So you can see I put a little caramel flavoring in there already. So add a little bit of water at a time to make glaze. It's fairly easy to make, but once you get it too watery, you're going to have to add more sugar. So just to save time, put a little bit of liquid at a time. and you'll get the perfect glaze every time. So you can see I'm stirring, stirring, stirring. So if you want to make more because you've made more pies, you can do that. Now at this point, you can see got a really thick glaze right there. So you will whisk this until it is very smooth. So you have all of the dry balls of powdered sugar out of there. And that's it. You'll have your glaze. If you're going to eat them right away, glaze them, that's cool. But if you're not, you're going to let these cool off for a couple minutes before you put the glaze. But as you can see, I'm just going to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth and get this glaze on here. If you want extra glaze, do it. By all means, do it. If you burned your calories for the day, it won't make a difference anyway. How about that? All right, so I just showed you how I glazed 2 of them. And let me show you what they look like once I'm done. Is what they look like, but I'm going to taste them on camera. Hold on a second. All right, y'all see? Y'all see? Woo! Woo! This is good. That's so good. I'm eating greasy fried stuff all the time, but what's it? Y'all better go make some of these right now. They so good. Thanks for watching, everybody. See y'all next time. For more great recipes, tips, and ideas, check out some of my other videos.